Hey everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Leviathan to the show. I've got Jim, who plays guitars, and Chris, who's involved in the vocals, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
Spot on. Great stuff, lads. And they're all the ways over in Manchester, so nice to talk to some Mancunians for the change. So, yeah, and what's the name of the cat, Chris?
Margot.
Margot. We've got Margot as a special guest as well.
She's been making a cameo.
So don't be freaked out if you hear some weird noises. It's not Chris's stomach. So, Jim, you got in contact with me through a good pal of mine, Adrian Williams.
That's right.
Yeah, fair play. Shout out to Adrian. Geez, that was back in the summertime. It was around August, maybe, I'm guessing.
That's right.
Yeah. I was actually on holidays. God, that was such a nice feeling to be away in the fucking sunshine.
Yeah.
But yeah. Jesus. So I checked you out, man, and I love your stuff. It's great. It's fucking really, really a lovely mixture of kind of death metal. I suppose a bit kind of a bit proggy as well. And a bit of Mastodon thrown in for equal measure, and yeah, it's really cool. I'm really intrigued where you're going with this. So far, there's just been 3 singles. Is this building up to an EP or an album?
Yeah, so there's one more track.
Okay.
That we're just waiting for the vocals for. So Darren's done that's Darren Lavery. He's done
everybody.
Yeah, I'll talk about him in a bit. He's done the majority of the vocals on that one. Chris has done some stuff towards the end, but we're just waiting for the finalized vocals for that one. And then it'll get. It's actually already mixed. It just needs to have the vocals laid over the top, and there's a few other layers. Chris has actually contributed a little bit of guitar, so that's the first time.
Oh yeah,
nice.
I forgot. Since the previous iteration of the band that someone else has played guitar, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting for that, and then that last track will be out. It's been a bit of a hodgepodge, just simply because we recorded the drums for it back in 2019.
Fuck. Okay.
It's taken 5 years to get to this point. What with COVID, and there was a couple of other things that were kind of holding things back. But really, the only reason this has got finished at all is because Chris started getting involved in it.
Nice.
And it was the vocals that were the kind of stumbling block. But as soon as Chris was involved, it all started to get finished. So I'm unbelievably kind of, thanks Chris for doing that, because it's without him it just wouldn't have. It had just sat on a computer somewhere and never saw the light of day.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, so there's 2 iterations of the band. Is this a project more so than a functioning band? I suppose the answer is yes, insofar as that, like, there's just so many of you involved and there's so much time between releases. So it is a project more than a functioning band at the moment.
It is at the moment, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, Chris is busy with his band Cairns, who, if you haven't checked out, you should definitely check out.
Okay.
So he's doing that. I'd love potentially at some point in the future to do a couple of live shows.
Right.
Again, the other stumbling block is the drums. Believe it or not, it's been so long since we tracked the drums that the guy that tracked them's actually given up playing.
Is this Simon Blakelock, is it?
Yeah, so as far as I'm aware, he's moved on to guitar. so it's been so long that he's actually stopped playing. So I can't really hit him up to ask him to do to do drums for it. Anyway, it's
maybe Darren will sort you out that side.
Yeah, maybe.
There's plenty of fantastic drummers over in Northern Ireland at the moment. So Chris, are you originally from Northern Ireland?
I'm from Belfast, yeah. I was
Okay,
actually
nice one.
born in Newry, so right in the
Okay.
border.
Ah, yeah, I know Nori well. Shout out to Joe there from Gamma Bomb. Been up there a few times visiting him.
Mhm.
You do know Gamma Bomb, Chris.
Oh, I know the band, yeah. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean, I've lived in the UK, in Manchester longer now than officially than I live back home,
yeah. And the
which is
Manchester
wild.
accent is shocking, like.
Well, here, when I go home and get a few Guinness in me, it all comes back.
So what made you move over, Chris? Was it just like work or just
It was university. I
oh
wanted
right,
to
okay.
study music,
Very
um,
good.
and there wasn't really anything at the time offered in Belfast.
Okay.
Um, and one of the big things, actually, I suppose, went over to do music. That's where I met Jim. We were on the same music course, actually,
Cool.
over 20 years ago now.
Jesus,
Jesus
lads.
About 20
Christ.
years ago, almost
That's
20
mad.
years.
Wow.
Um, and one of the
Hey,
things that
and you're releasing new music. That's fucking even better.
well, we've been trying to collaborate on a band, I guess, for forever, and it's finally kind of
Okay.
come to fruition. We've all been busy with other stuff, but it's good. But yeah, I mean, one of the big things from moving to Manchester for me, it's like hardly any bands used to come to Belfast 20 years ago. We used to always be going down to Dublin or trying to
Okay.
get, flights to
To
England or
UK. Yeah,
watch
yeah.
bands and that. Obviously it's changed now. I see a lot of bands coming through home. I try and go to Belfast sometimes to see bands in some of my old spots.
Yeah. Was Limelights open back then, Chris, was it?
Yeah,
And
Limelight
Voodoo.
was
Both were functioning.
Voodoo wasn't around.
Okay. Okay.
Um, when I left Belfast, that's I don't know when it started, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a class B spot there.
Yeah. So you we're doing the same music course together. Now, Jim, were you in Nailed at that stage? Or was this before that even?
That before.
Okay.
So I think you said before, last time you saw me, I had long hair.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that was the other guitarist, Paul Cuthbert.
Okay.
Because I came over to Ireland with Nailed and Suffocation.
Right.
But that was a few years after that.
Okay.
Um, so I'm pretty sure that was because I seem to remember that they did some shows. Oh, obviously they did with Obituary, but I
Yeah.
don't. That was Paul.
Okay.
Um,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
um,
Fair enough.
that was the previous guitarist.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you were involved in the first release, Chris, as a vocalist as well, or did you just
No,
mix
No,
stuff?
no. I just yeah, I wasn't really anything to do internally within the band, but I think that you guys were rehearsing at my
that's
place.
yeah, that's totally right. So Chris owns a music studio and rehearsal business. It's called Noise Boy Studios,
Oh, so
and I
you were
think
he was tracking the acoustic track, wasn't it? The
yeah,
Leviathan
That was
OX.
yeah, yeah. We tracked an acoustic
yeah,
thing.
we
That's
did, we
There you
right.
go.
did, we did. But I
Yeah.
think we were the first band that ever rehearsed.
Yeah.
Noise Boy, like when it was like an empty, basically warehouse.
Mm.
Really? Fucking
Yeah.
hell. Okay.
At the time, Chris has completely redeveloped it to where it is now.
So you
But
still have a Chris, yeah?
Yeah, we had our 10-year anniversary this year, so yeah, it's going well. I mean, there's plenty of bands in Manchester, so it's
Yeah.
good.
Fair play, man. That's great to hear that. So and the first album then, I'm just trying to kind of tie the whole thing together. So that was in Silent City Studios in
that's
Manchester,
right.
is it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
well, it was up in Leeds.
Right.
So the same producer that's done this one did the previous one,
Okay.
Rob Hobson,
Okay.
and he had a studio that's called Silent City, and he doesn't have a studio, he just does it, just mixes remotely.
Yeah, so there's a few ties between the two releases
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Wow, that's great, man. Um, do you know the song this like I was listening to the first EP, like or first album, I should say, In Darkness It Crawls, and there's a few tracks that kind of marry nicely with what the new releases, but Hammer of the Witches for me what a fucking song, like, that's just class. Like,
Good one.
and that DNA is still in it with
Yeah,
the new one as well. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you haven't kind of gone straight too far away from
No,
the patch. Okay.
that track in particular, that has got it, yeah, it's funny that you say that. That's definitely the DNA is in there. Chris probably doesn't remember this, but when it comes to that particular song, the chorus riff, Chris actually helped me transcribe that, write it out,
No
because I
way.
couldn't work out how the rhythm went.
I
And
don't remember that, but yeah,
you
it's
won't remember it because we were
that.
really drunk.
Right.
And we actually there was a time where we were trying to put a few bits together to make a band,
Hmm.
and that the bits that we wrote out ended up becoming that song. So Chris has in a way been been present in this from the
Jesus.
very beginning. The missing link is the Dan Cocker. So
Okay.
Dan was the other guitarist in the Leviathan, and he contributed a lot of stuff. He did a lot of songwriting on that first album,
Hmm.
and he has also quit music.
Fucking hell. So
I
he's
know.
nothing to do with the new release either.
No,
Like,
no, nothing. Also,
wow.
the drummer Dan Mickerton has also quit music.
Jesus Christ.
So it's not
Jim,
me.
there's a kind of a
Promise.
trait fucking kind of coming through here, man. Fucking hell.
It's not, I promise it's not me. But
I'll be
Jesus.
announcing my retirement tomorrow.
It's like an Agatha Christie murder mystery, except it's the musicians that are disappearing.
Just kills the will, you
yeah.
know.
So, like, we'd still stay back in the early 2000s, witchy. So Chris, you set up your own studio
Mhm.
and more or less set off on your own course, really. And what band did you were involved in then?
So the band I was involved with whenever I just started the studio was a band called Incasum, which actually I was Jim's replacement when Jim left that band. It was a band
Jesus,
that we
right.
met at university. It's
Okay.
there's a lot of links,
Yeah.
very primary links going on. So yeah, that was my band at that time, and we had a good go with that. We played in Ireland a couple of times, played around Europe a couple of times.
And what
Uh,
what genre was that, Chris?
I was
Hardcore?
kind of
Metalcore? No?
melodic death metal
Okay, okay.
kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, yeah, and that we that was a band that had formed at the university, and we played together for a long time, and yeah, that was give it a good go, and then a few folks kind of realized they didn't really like the touring lifestyle and all that kind of thing, so that one fizzled out. But it was a great band to be in, and we had a lot of great experiences, and I learned a lot
Okay.
from doing that band. Um, so yeah, that was the band at around that time, and then when that kind of fizzled out, I was in a kind of stoner rock band for a while called Leicester Verde. It still exists in a temporary hiatus. Um, but yeah, now my main project is Cairns.
Is
So it's
that
kind of
Cairns? Is that Cairns? Okay.
indeed, yeah, yeah. So that's kind of an atmospheric black metal
Oh,
uh,
really? Okay.
kind of thing. And funny enough, the guys that were playing in my stoner rock band, because that started off as a project, a bit like Jim's. I don't want to get too far away from the Leviathan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wrote an EP, and then we ended up getting signed to a small label in the UK called Clobber, who unfortunately have folded.
Hmm.
But yeah, then all of a sudden I was getting asked to when we're going to play live shows. So I was like, oh shit, I need to find a fucking band. Um, but yeah, a couple of the guys that were playing in Leicester Verde and Stoner Band, they actually been playing in some of the live shows.
Okay.
And then we had a couple of shows earlier this year, and Jim ended up stepping in for those as well. So yeah, we kind of got a bit of like a kind of pool of
Yeah, it seems like you've
musicians
a
and
pool
network.
of friends that'll kind of step in and step out,
Mhm.
as you demand, really, both of you.
Aye, exactly, and it's great because I mean, like a lot of the good musicians and my good friends, they all have bands going on, they all have stuff going on,
Hmm.
so they're busy. So it's nice to be able to like,
And is there a
grab it.
big metal scene in Manchester? I wouldn't know now.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It kind of comes in big waves.
Okay.
whenever there's an active promoter going on, there's a lot of shows, and then they kind of, fade out and in and out as promoters
Mm,
do. And sometimes there's a bit of a lull, but there's definitely a core scene,
yeah.
revolving around like the Grand Central pub. They're always putting on gigs.
Okay.
Belgian Bar, they've always got gigs on.
Right.
So yeah, there is quite a lot
And what's the
going on in Manchester.
predominant music scene in Manchester in relation to metal? Is it metalcore or is it death or
There's quite a lot of metalcore bands. I mean, I
mm,
see a lot of them through the studio because a lot of bands that end up rehearsing or recording with me.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, we get all sorts. There's some
Mm,
really good um like slam bands if you're into that kind of stuff.
yeah.
We get quite a few of
Okay.
them coming through. Death metal bands, black metal bands. Black
Yeah.
metal has definitely had quite a big resurgence in the last few years.
Right.
Um,
Because like the Irish scene for ages was sludge. It was just sludge metal, doom sludge
mm,
metal. And that seems to, well, it has faded out now and it's all metalcore bands now,
mm,
new metal, metalcore, hardcore. There's a big scene in Ireland with that now. So
yeah,
it's again, it's peaks and troughs.
that's it. Hardcore's really had a big resurgence in Manchester
Yeah.
um, as
What's that?
well.
What's that? There is a big festival in Manchester, Boomtown, is it? Is that
No, Outbreak. It's
Outbreak?
the
Sorry.
hardcore one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That one's pretty big. I've still not been down to that, but I know quite a lot of people that are like in
Where's
bands.
Boomtown then?
Boomtown's like right down south, I think near Southampton.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because
Yeah,
friends of mine have gone to both, so I was just wondering.
yeah, Cat Town.
Okay. So like Jim, we'll get back to the band. It was just nice to dovetail there with Chris. So these songs, how long have you been sitting on them?
Um, well, some of them go back to 2013.
No.
Yeah, I know, seriously. Like the one that Darren's working on right now, I that I'm pretty sure that was late 2013 that I wrote the riffs for that. There's been a lot of things that have got. I have to admit, I did nearly give up music at one point.
Okay.
I
Followed
did,
all
I
the
honestly
wisdom.
did. About 2017, I think, was the time where I just felt like I'm a guitar teacher and I've worked in music tuition basically my entire professional life.
Hmm.
And at that point, I was just completely burnt out with the idea of even playing music outside of work. I'd had
Right.
enough of playing in work as well.
Yeah, of course.
Um,
Yeah.
and um, I did we came quite close to giving up. So
Mm.
as you can imagine, all this kind of stuff just got shelved
Shelved. Yeah,
for,
yeah.
for a good few years. And there's a couple of things that happened back in 2017, 2018, that kind of rekindled the fire a little bit. And I wish I could have kind of brought it together a little faster. I wish that I'd spoken to Chris about it. I
Yeah.
think I think from my point of view, there's always been a bit of a. I mean, Chris will back me up on this. There's always been a bit of a confidence problem with me that sometimes I don't like to put myself out there. So the idea of
Okay.
asking somebody else to contribute, it was something that I found to be quite a scary thing to do.
Right. Okay.
And it took a long time for me to build up the confidence to do that. I mean, I
Mm.
remember when I first went round to Chris's studio to show him some of the songs, and I did struggle a little bit in the
Yeah.
aftermath of that. It was quite a big deal for me. I know it sounds like a silly thing, but
No, no, absolutely not.
it was quite a big deal for me to take that step. I've always, well, in the past, there's always been like a personality that's kind of driven things forward. So,
Okay. Okay. Understand. Yeah.
you see what I mean? Like I mentioned Dan earlier on. Dan was the guy that was like kind of the face of it and
Yeah.
kind of pushing things forward. And for me to have to kind of take on that role is something that I found to be quite
Bit overwhelming, like.
yeah, and overwhelming.
Mm.
And
And
so that explains how long
how
it's
does
taken.
that translate then, Jim, to you playing live as a musician?
I
Is
find
it the
it
same
very hard.
issues? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I find it very, very hard.
Right.
Chris gave me the opportunity to do some shows with Cairns, and again, very grateful for that opportunity because I could have just not done that,
Hmm.
but I decided that I was gonna, from a personal development point of view, try to build that confidence back up again.
Okay.
And the last gig that I did, I have to admit, there's technical issues, but my level of nerves was way less, and that was just because
Mhm.
I'd done a few shows,
Yes.
and I kind of built that confidence back up.
Hmm.
And for somebody like me, in the past, I played regularly with Nailed. We played some not massive things, but we played some bigger shows.
Yeah.
Um, but having not done it for so long,
Okay. So that's
the
where you
confidence,
think the issues came into it, is it?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. And we'll say, Jim, is half of it? I'm just referring now again to the live stuff. Is half of the I suppose the anxiousness, anxiety, is half of that like the build up to the actual event. Whereas
Yeah,
if you're on the floorboard with your guitar plugged in, that's wiped.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's the
The build up.
uncertainty, yeah, of not knowing how it's going to go.
Right. Okay.
So that's always been the issue with me. Like, and yeah, I've it's something that I've struggled with for well, forever, ever since I
Right.
picked up a guitar. I don't know, the act of performance is something that some people fall to naturally, and
Yeah.
then others, don't feel like that. And
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
one of the others.
Yeah. Like Chris, like overcoming something like that, it must be hard, like, and especially since you're his mate as well. Like, what were your opinions when he came to you with those tracks, out of the blue, probably?
Well, I was quite busy with a bunch of projects, and Jim's
Right.
like, maybe just try chucking a couple of vocals on the end of this track or something like that. I was like, okay, let's have a listen. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. And he had some like lyrics prepared already. So I was like, right, I'll do a couple of bits here.
Right.
And it was, yeah, vibing, and once we finished the session, I was like, that was actually really cool. But I'm like, I'm very busy. I really shouldn't get involved, with another fucking band. I think I got a message from Jim. It was like, how would you feel about doing a few more vocal parts? I was like,
Yeah.
all right, here we go. But then, yeah, by that point, when we got the kind of ball rolling, it was cool. It was great to see some of these songs that Jim had been sitting on for ages. And like, I know myself, I've sat on music for quite a while. Like the Cairns stuff was quite a personal record for me, and I'd sat on it for a while. And you start questioning, is this any fucking good? Because you're the only person that's
Yeah.
hearing it, and sometimes to get that external validation, you take it to someone. That's what happened with me with my record, and I think with Jim, I was like, you know what, Jim, these riffs are fucking sick. We should really, really make sure this gets done and get it done right. And it's pretty like it's again that validation's come now from further sources. Like I've seen a few like YouTube videos of people talking about it, a few reviews on the YouTube comments, people like, this is sick, and it is, and I think that'll hopefully help propel
Yes. Bit
next
of
stuff
momentum.
forward.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to play a clip of the Grove of the Wood Witch, and this is a section that I particularly liked and I picked out. So we'll give it a listen. love those lyrics. Palatable excitement at the prospect of the sentence to smell the sweetness of cooking flesh and hear the crackling of her skin.
That was something that I really enjoyed actually, and we had this because Jim and come with these lyrics. The other one, the Wolf Amongst the Horsemen, all being about Vlad Tepes, and then
Yes.
this one, about this stuff, and it's really cool because it's a bit of a departure, from the kind of stuff I normally sing about and scream
Right.
about. So it's really cool, just getting to like spit out some really
Yeah.
grim shit.
Yeah. And do you know
Me and
what?
Chris have always had a shared interest in history
Right.
as well. So the lyrics in those two tracks very much kind of based in the historical past. So
Right.
Chris just mentioned Vlad the Impaler there,
Mm.
but that one's I basically tried to write it about a witch who's been accused of witchcraft.
Mm.
Um, and then actually at the end turns out that she is actually a witch.
Yes.
And at the
Okay.
point where she's being burnt at the stake, she then unleashes her fury on her accusers. And I thought that was quite a cool, like,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Why did you come up with the word woad?
So woad is it's a plant that
Okay.
The ancient Britons used to make basically war paint out of.
Okay.
Um, so
Interesting.
when the Britons were first when the Caesar first encountered the Britons, one of the things he said was that they were painted blue,
Right.
and they used the plant woad in order to do that. So it's a kind of an image that's based in the past of the Britons. I don't know, that's just like the
Yeah,
vibe.
absolutely. Because there's another band, I don't know, was it Mastiff or something like that, had a song as well about a witch as well. And I was just wondering, was Woad an area? But no, it's not. And it was kind of based on a true kind of story as well. But it's just so many fucking interviews. I can't remember, but it was
Yeah.
definitely a UK band that, and it caught my attention straight away. Do you know what I love about those two songs in particular? That as filthy as death metal as it can get, the emphasis on the melody, funnily enough, is all about in the solos,
Mm,
which I find interesting.
mm.
So maybe talk about that, Jim.
I to be honest, a lot of myself and Chris, I think the way that we approach songwriting is, even though it is really dirty and heavy,
Yeah.
there's not that much dissonance.
Hmm.
So the notes that we pick are notes that harmonically complementary to one another rather than
Yes.
there being kind of clashes
Yeah.
in harmony. You might call that, there's a word, diatonic.
Okay.
Um, and I think I was talking to a student about this the other day, that I've always preferred the metal that kind of stays within a diatonic key. That I find dissonant metal, I do listen to it, but I
Hmm.
can't listen to much of it. And I find that the metal that I do I hold close to my heart, like for instance Mastodon. Mastodon are a band that they do use distance, but there's a lot of harmony that's a little easier to get along with. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guitar solo in that song, I'm not known for my improvisation, but a lot of it is improvised. It was also recorded on a guitar that cost £180.
Very good.
So if which I'm always keen to tell people that, because there's an idea that you need an expensive guitar to sound
Yeah.
expensive, and that's not necessarily the case.
Why was that? Because
What?
I'm looking at the guitar behind you. That doesn't look like it's 180 quid.
Oh yeah, no, it's not here, that one.
Yeah,
That is a Fender Squire.
exactly. Yeah.
The
It
one that
looked
you
like it.
hear on that, and it's a very basic guitar that I put some new pickups in,
Right.
uh, but it sounds absolutely amazing. So.
Hmm. Yeah. It's funny because I was listening to Rick Rubin being interviewed by Rick Beato,
Yeah.
today, and Rick was talking to Ruben about Slayer's Rain and Blood album, and the fact that how did he actually approach producing for them, and what he wanted, what he what he kind of implied anyway, was that with Slayer and Rain and Blood is the fact that he didn't name which Metallica song it was, but he said, like, listening to the Metallica one, there was a lot missing because of dissonance, and just the you couldn't kind of separate each
Mm.
musical track,
Hmm.
and that's what he came into with Slayer. And he said if he was a metal producer of so many years, he would have had the same tricks that he would have put into Slayer, but he was coming from a rap background,
Mm-hmm.
and all he was interested in just getting these points, these little points of rhythm that you could clearly hear each instrument, but it was just sharp shock, boom, 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 boom. And
Mm.
they played Rain and Blood, and nothing sounded cloudy. It was
No.
all, and I thought that was fascinating when he was saying that,
Still really stands up, that record
yeah.
Yeah.
today. It still sounds sick.
But he was saying that if he was a metal producer, it would never have sounded
Mm.
like that. But he was coming in with a fresh set of ears to a genre that probably the only thing heavy he did at that stage was probably the Beastie Boys.
Mm-mm.
And then suddenly he's fucking helping him, this evolving record that turned out to be Rain and Blood. So, there's a lesson in there for you, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I've been meaning to watch that exact interview, another one you're on about. I saw it get recommended the day. So
Yeah. So, one other thing, Jim, there, this came up. Walking in the Air. Did you actually do a cover of Walking in the Air?
Hell yeah.
Okay. So that was in 2016. So Walking in the Air, it is the Howard Blake classic Snowman
Oh yeah.
theme music. Is it out there somewhere on YouTube? I
um,
couldn't find it.
yeah, do you know what, Richie? I'm not sure. I will have a look and see if it is. I don't know whether I deleted the video. So we always had an air of kind of comedicness to
Okay.
everything that we did, and it doesn't really come across online really with the because we just kind of put that album out, but there was definitely a healthy dose of not taking ourselves too seriously. And one Christmas, I just started in my bedroom in the shared flat that I lived with the drummer and the guitarist to
Yeah.
do a cover of Walking in the Air, and then it just became a thing that we did.
And is there singing on it, or is it just instrumental?
No, it's just instrumental.
I was just going to, how the fuck are you going to get somebody to sing that? Chris, I have a favor to ask.
I
Here's some helium. Okay, so obviously that's not an influence on you, Jim, but like maybe Jim and Chris thought to be about who would be your biggest influences, or is there any band in particular, maybe Jim, that got you back into
Yeah,
come
yeah, actually there is.
okay.
Misery Index.
Oh, Misery Index. Jesus, I saw them in Brutal Assault. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So
phew.
Chris actually introduced me, and it was like loads of like
yeah.
Chris actually introduced me to Misery Index back in the day. But
Right.
then I can't remember what year it came out. The Killing Gods,
Yes.
the Misery Index album that sort of reignited my passion for riffs.
Yeah.
Um, and I listened to that album like a lot. At the similar kind of time, I think Once More Round the Sun, Mastodon,
Mm.
that came out, and also one of the Gojira records
Oh my
at the
God, I was going to say fucking Gojira. No, I
yeah
swear to God, man.
yeah
Yeah.
I think it was L'Enfant Sauvage. I
That's
think I
that
think
would
it was that
if
one.
you're kind of going with years, it would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, those three. I had a I had a Volvo that had a CD changer in it, and those three CDs were on like a heavy rotation.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And at some point during that period, I decided that I was gonna start playing again
Okay.
properly.
Yeah, Jesus, three
But
great fucking albums, man. Phew.
yeah, I know, and they really did reignite the passion. But you
Okay.
know, Chris introduced me to Mastodon as well, actually, pretty
What's that
much.
mean? You know?
He'd be lost without you, Chris. He'd be fucking listening to other sound of music on he. So, Chris, I'm sure you've got some weird ones there that you could throw in as well. Let's throw in a few curveballs for influences.
Curveballs.
I love your sleep hoodie,
Oh,
actually.
cheers. Yeah, I'm a huge stoner and Doom fan, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's taken me a while to kind of be like, what is my style, you know? And like, there's
Mm,
certain bands that contributed, I think, to that. Deftones is a big one.
of course, yeah.
That's probably not so weird, but that whole thing that like that new metal band that was never really a new metal band and it's
Mm,
kind of transcended that, and you know,
yeah.
and there's a lot of people into the post rock and post metal thing that are really into the textures of that. Um, God, there's all sorts. Yeah, I mean, I'm also a big country music fan,
Right.
and
Okay.
so I play. You know, over lockdown, I learned how to proper Travis pick and play acoustic guitar, and that's crept into my own guitar playing, my kind of repertoire a bit.
Okay.
So the Cairn stuff and the new stuff, there's a bit more like folky, kind of finger picking kind of stuff that I'm playing.
Right.
Um,
There's a band there that, oh fuck, they're American. They're Americana band. Um, of something or other. What are they called? Um, I've seen them as well. They're death metal, but they're kind of country
right, okay.
tinged. What the f
It's not Panopticon, the black metal band.
No. Fuck it. And I saw them in Brutal Assault as well.
Christian.
Oh, is it Wayfarer?
No, I know Wayfarer actually. Yeah, they're a good band as well.
Yeah, yeah, sick band. They've got a bit of that Appalachian kind of influence, that and that
Yeah,
almost Marconi thing.
yeah. It's like
Um,
something of something of something. It's oh, it'll come to me. Yeah,
let's send us a message about it whenever you
yeah.
remember.
You'll
For
definitely know them. They're fucking huge. Like they're really,
yeah.
really big. They're after breaking through there. Your man is a bit like Lenny Kravitz, the singer. He even looks like Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, Zeal and Ardor.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Zeal
yeah.
and Ardor. I saw them and they were fantastic.
Yeah, great.
They're
They're a
they're
great band. I saw
different as
them
well, aren't they?
very different. I saw them a couple of weeks ago in Amsterdam. It was fucking brilliant. They're supporting Highland.
Oh,
Um,
Highland. Oh my God. Did you
as a
enjoy
bonkers,
Highland?
as a bonkers gig in
Where
Amsterdam.
was that on? Oh, sure, that's ideal for fuck's
Yeah,
sake. Like,
absolutely
wasn't that
brilliant.
in Paradiso, no?
It was in the AFAS, so it was the one of the big arena
Okay, that's the
venues.
Heineken one, is it? Is it the
Yeah,
one?
yeah,
I saw
yeah.
Mudhoney in the Paradiso
Oh, class. Yeah,
years
Paradise is
ago.
a nicer venue and much more a cool venue, but I guess these bands now are getting so big, they've like even outgrown the Paradise. I
Yeah.
think it was 3,500 that one.
Jesus Christ.
Big do. And they're all 6.5 foot Dutch people, so I saw fuck all for half of it. But yeah, no, Zealand are they're yeah, absolutely mint. That's been an influence just to see how people are kind of merging genre a lot
Mm.
more. Another one like that for
I
me was Death Heaven whenever that
Yeah,
Sunbather came out.
oh
yeah,
fuck yeah, that's a great example. Yeah.
And it kind of was a bit like I mean, it's a bit divisive sometimes in the black metal community. Is like, oh, you know, the old gatekeepers.
They are.
That's not real and that's not true. But then actually,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
that are really into it and accept change and embrace it. And you know,
Mm.
I like
Yeah,
to think,
it needs to change, you know what I mean? It just gets too fucking painted into a corner and you just get fed up of it really. You know, I'm always kind of just looking for something that's different, you know, even the likes of Turnstile there. I
yeah, yeah,
love Turnstile, man. They're just great, you know, and Drain, just like there's other bands that are coming through that are really exciting. But the one that just broke my heart was Power Trip though. Seeing them when they took off
yeah.
initially was amazing, like and
I
and
got
getting
into them. uh, almost like just before, it's Randy Gale, is it his name?
Riley.
Riley Gale, right? Yeah, Riley Gale. I think it was just like a couple of like months before he died. I was like, oh fuck, these are mint. I can't wait to see them. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
yeah, that was a real shitter.
yeah. It was. So we'd say okay. So we've just covered musical influences, but I'm sure there's books and maybe movies as well that kind of color the lyrics um to some of your songs, or where are you with that with those type of influences, lads?
Um, that the song that Darren's working on, the lyrics are based around the thing.
No way, the movie, the thing,
Yeah, yeah.
class, John Carpenter's.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's a, I mean, Darren's like a massive sci-fi. I'm going to use the word nerd.
Yeah, that's fine.
And in fact, we used to call him the Alpha Nerd. Uh,
Hey, Jesus, like we've totally forgot about him. How did you meet Darren? Darren, apologies.
I met Darren from working behind the bar in a pub in Manchester that's called the Grand Central.
Okay,
Which Chris mentioned earlier on, and I was serving them, him and two of his friends, and I think they were talking about the band Death,
okay.
and I just recently discovered that band and
Hmm.
just started chatting to them, and then
There's one band that you got me into.
we, but
Thank
we
God.
I then I was in a metal club later on, and they were there, and I sort of struck up a conversation with them,
Yeah.
and then I subsequently joined a band that Darren was in that was called the Neanderthal. I was sort
Okay.
of briefly in that band, and me and Darren stayed have known each other for God, well, similar kind of time that I've known Chris.
Oh, really? Is it that length of time? Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, because
Okay. Yeah.
Darren, he'd lived in Manchester for over 10 years,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's basically how we met, and then through one thing and
Yeah.
another, we've stayed friends ever since.
Yeah. I love his band Taint. They know that anyway, but my God, what a fucking
Yeah.
live band they are for a three
Oh,
piece.
oh, Richie! Oh my God! I saw them. I surprised him. They played in Burnley,
Okay.
um, over the summer, well, just in the I can't remember when it was, May, something like that. And I didn't tell him I was going, and I just kind of turned up. And he was very surprised to see me. But oh my God, they're so tight.
Yeah.
I was just, I mean, I've seen a lot of bands, but
Serious. Yeah. And the way their vocal style as well, the way that
yeah,
it just matches, it's fucking
it's
incredible.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So they're one of my favorite bands actually in Ireland. Looking forward to hearing and seeing what they've got coming up as well. I'm sure they're busy in the background.
Yeah, they are.
Um, so so have you played many gigs then over the years then, lads, or is this just like okay, so it is as established now. It's coming up to release date now. We're waiting on Darren to work on this song that you're on about. But actively touring wise, Jim, you're not doing so much, but Chris, are you?
Um, with Cairns, we've got just a few shows in. We're going to be doing a full length next year and be looking at doing some more
Okay.
um, touring. So we'll see. I said I wasn't going to book any gigs until we get the album out, and then all of a sudden, you're getting offers
Yeah,
like do
this is
this
it,
little thing
didn't it?
here.
Yeah.
So yeah, got a few, but yeah, before I go go off on a proper lengthy run, I think yeah,
Mhm.
we've got an album to do.
Yeah. So Jim, what would be your ideal gig if it was on offer for you? What would make you just go, okay, yeah, no brainer, I'll do it.
Oh, what? Geez, something. If a gig came up that was cool, like
I'm on about say the Sophie Lannister tent in Bloodstock, for example, or something. Do you know?
um, yeah, I mean, yeah, something like that. That'd be yeah. But oh God, I don't know. Um, I
I'm a
wouldn't.
huge fan of Arctangent Festival. I reckon
Oh,
Yeah,
Leviathan would be pretty good on
They
that,
would actually, yeah,
and
yeah,
it would work quite nice. It's got enough riffs and like
yeah.
progginess, I think.
I was trying to price that, man. It's fucking, oh, that's a serious. I basically, I'd have to budget for $1,000 to go to Arctangent for three or four nights.
It's worth it. It's Mint Festival.
Yeah, like I've been to Damnation Festival. Sure, that's only on your door, actually. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Yeah. What about that, Jim? Damnation, maybe on the smaller
Yeah, that'd
stages.
be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
any of those would be cool. Um, I, I think about my past and think about the coolest gigs that I've ever played.
Right.
Um,
Go on. Give us a shout out for the coolest gig and actually the funniest gig where
okay,
shit went wrong.
I know exactly what the
Okay,
two
good.
are. So
Okay, cool.
one of them, the coolest one, was a festival in Switzerland that was called Mountains of Death. And
Whoa.
Nail played that back in 2010. And there is literally an Alp, or there was. This festival's done now. I think they did one more in 2011 and then they called
Hmm.
it quit. There is literally Alps in front of the stage. You're on the stage and you look up and it's just the
Oh
Alps.
man.
And it was in this
Fuck.
tiny little village called Muatathal. And that was just absolutely incredible. 3 days of being in the Alps. And the actual gig bit was okay, but the
The
setting
surroundings, of course, yeah.
was just amazing. And the funniest one was playing in Manchester at the Star and Garter. And this was in the Leviathan. It was one of the last gigs that we did. We didn't do
Okay.
many. And our bass player, Ian, he hadn't realised that he'd set his tuner to not concert pitch. So concert pitch is what's called 440 hertz, and
Yeah.
that means that you tune into to what the world thinks is EADGB.
Okay. Yeah.
And he had his tuner set to something like 335 hertz. So he thought he was in tune, but actually he spent the entire gig being sort of microtonally out of tune with everyone else.
Oh.
We were all wearing Santa costumes as well at that one. Um, I think it was quite bizarre to behold. Actually, I think that yeah. Anyway, there
Oof.
you are.
Jesus Christ. Santa outfits and all, man.
Yeah.
Ah, God. Chris, can you beat any of those two ones?
I was
Coolest and funniest.
I was very lucky to be asked to play guitar in my friend's band for a couple of shows last year, a band called Gospelheim.
Right.
And I was in the middle of having a conversation with my partner and like, right, that's it. I'm too busy to take on anything else. Blah, blah. And literally that's like an hour later, my friend Ricardo calls me up. Chris, can you play a couple of shows with us? What'd you say? I was like, oh shit, okay, well, what are the shows? I'm ready to turn him down. So the first one's Prophecy Fest in Balverhol in Germany.
Right.
It's in a fucking cave in Germany. And Agalok had been announced to one of my all-time favorite black metal bands after like a long hiatus. So yeah, straight away I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely in. And that was an incredible environment to be in a cave. So Amun Ra there, and it was
Oh,
a spiritual experience.
yeah, of course.
Incredible.
Like European gigs, like in a fucking cave or the
Yeah.
Alps in the background, like, some of them are in forests. You just really have to seek them out. There was one in Transylvania as well this year. I can't remember that one. It was the first time ever as well.
Right, yeah.
Um,
There's just some really cool places, and
yeah,
it was just incredible, and also just the hospitality of the Europeans is like
yeah,
incredible.
yes, yes.
Um,
So the
so yeah,
funniest,
um, funniest was probably the last Cairn show that Jim played with was Darkness Over Cumbria, and I'd put a lot of expectations on it because that was a cool little festival in the middle of the woods, very small, low key in Cumbria.
right?
And I've been expecting a lot of expectations on this one. Was going to be really cool, and we played and we kept blowing the fucking generator.
Oh, fuck.
And every time we got a bit of momentum, the generator was blowing up, I'll say it's funny. At the time, I was fucking fuming, but looking back on it, it's
And of
just,
course, the crowd were going, "Yay!"
yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's just pretty awkward, even all the mics, everything off.
Ah,
So I say it's funniest now because looking back on it, yeah, I mean, that's all you can do,
yeah,
I used to get like, I like gym as well. I used to get very like anxious with gigs and focus on the negative stuff, and I ended up giving me quite a bit of performance anxiety, and then a while ago I was able to just let it go. It's like, listen, it is what it is.
hmm,
You fuck up a song, you fuck up this,
yeah.
you so now, yeah, I do look at these things with a lot more humor and laughter, and it's like, yeah,
Man,
cool.
that's great, man, to hear. Jesus Christ, blowing the generator, that fuck's sake, that shouldn't be
Five
happening.
fucking times, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was wild.
Okay, I'm gonna play one more track. It's the obvious one, The Wolf Amongst the Horsemen. Okay. Whew, that is class. Like The Wolf Amongst the Horsemen would definitely fit in the Darkness It Crawls as well. You know,
Mm,
it's just that's a real one for the old fans of the band. Isn't it
mm.
really? To be fair, and two cracking solos as well in
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
heavy.
it is. Yeah, it's fucking serious. Um, nice kind of creatory vibe as well. Early creator, I thought as well. Yeah, it's amazing what other people would pick up, isn't it? So
Yeah,
was the first single then, Jim? Really, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. What a great way to return to this. Was there any doubt about that, or were you going to lead with the Grove of the
No,
Road Witch?
definitely wanted it to just be like a punch in the face.
Yeah.
To be the first kind of, and the track listing. I think it's going to be that one. Then the growth of the Woad Witch, then the one that Darren's working on that we keep
Yeah.
talking about, and then the little acoustic interlude.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the last thing. But it was actually your man Philip from Burning
Burning
Metal.
Metal.
Yeah, he suggested that,
Interesting.
and I was like, okay, it's sold.
Fucking hell. Very good. What about the artwork as well? Artwork is really cool for it.
That is a Russian dude. I've forgotten his name now. But I just during lockdown, I think he was doing a sale of his art,
Okay.
and I just scrolled, and that one came up, and I think it was like 30 euros. It wasn't.
What?
I know.
Oh,
From what I remember, he was very worried at the time, this guy, about the fact that the war in Ukraine was going to impact his business because the Russian government stopped allowing him to take PayPal payments.
oh, okay.
So he was selling the stuff that he had just before that kind of break point. But some of his art's absolutely fantastic.
Hmm.
Uh, and that was just it was just cheap, Richie,
Yeah,
to be honest.
yeah. And do you know what? It works. It works. The whole team of it works. You know, you
Yeah,
can just look at it and kind of go, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. You
yeah.
know, and you know the original artwork for the In Darkness It Crawls. Where did that come from?
I think that was I think that was that the drummer Danny. I think he did that actually.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure. He just did it on his own.
Wow. Okay. So my ideal situation for you would be literally to play maybe two or three gigs in Ireland next year. Um, if you were up for it.
I'm always down for playing.
Yeah.
I
So
went
you
to Dolan's for the first time last year in Limerick. That's fucking class. Deadly.
that's a venue and a half, isn't it? That's the jewel in the crown, really, for the siege. It's on twice a year, you know.
And my friend's band Wolf Bastard run a little mini Irish tour. So check them out.
Okay. Wolf Bastard. Right. I might have seen their name on a poster actually.
Yeah, we had a great fucking evening in Dolan's.
Ah, class. Who were they playing with?
We're playing with a couple of local bands. Ordinator was one. I think they're Limerick band, and there was another band.
When was this, Chris?
Oh wait, I've got it here. Dolan's Casbah. Tombs.
Oh, Tombs. Ah, class. Sure, the boys are
November
sound.
25th last year. I've got a little poster from
Yeah,
Dolan's on.
yeah. I knew I fucking saw I remember the poster, all right, but I was trying to think who else was, and it was Tombs. Yes. They're really slippery
Yeah.
sludge. Yeah,
That
great
was a
band.
cool
Lovely
story.
guys as well. Alex and the boys. Shout out to the boys. Yeah, so Darren will work out. We'll get Darren working on a drummer for you. And yeah, we'll try and figure something out for you to do an old mini tour of Ireland. It'd be great next year. No pressure, like, but leave it with me. See what I can come up with.
We've got the drummer that's drumming in Cairns, Dave. He's gonna hopefully, well, no, he is gonna track some drums for the Leviathan EP.
Okay,
I'm going over to Chris's place next week to just have a little jam with him.
nice.
So we'll see how that.
Also the drummer of Wolf Bastard.
Yes.
Everything's
It's all linked. Same pool.
It's the same. Yeah, it totally is, isn't it, Chris?
hardest working drummer I know. Fucking hell.
Jesus.
Yeah. He does a lot, doesn't he? He is also the drummer in the UK black metal band Burial.
Burial.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he drums for them as well. And
Fuck.
they're another Manchester-based
Yeah,
metal
they've
band,
just got an album out as well. I
which Chris
produced.
produced.
Yeah,
All right, really fair play, man.
they're worth
Yeah,
checking out. Yeah.
there's a band from well, McCary is the only Irish member in it. Debt Collector. You heard of them?
Oh yeah.
They're fucking class. Yeah, they actually did another mini tour of England there this weekend, you know. Oh, actually, they were up in Glasgow for sure. But check
Mhm.
them out, Debt Collector, fucking excellent. Andy Whale of Boltror was their drummer.
Oh,
Oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so he's after retiring now, so they've got in a new drummer. That's what triggered it there. And Mick was saying he's a bit of a lunatic. So most drummers are, you know, it's a thing, isn't it, really, lads? Fucking hell. So that's it. Thanks a million for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Seriously,
And
much
yeah,
appreciated.
it was great to catch up with you, lads. And as I said, you know, if we could get you over to Ireland at some stage next year, it'd be fucking great. Even a siege appearance or something. Who knows? It would
Cool, man.
inspire you to get a few tracks together. So Jim, the final release, Darren is working on it.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at realistically? Do you think the EP be out before Christmas?
Oh, hopefully that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Darren, he finalized the vocals on that track, and then he's had a change of heart basically.
Okay.
We demoed them with another vocalist, and he basically copied what the other vocalist did, and then decided that he wanted to go his own way, which I was totally like, I'd much prefer that you did that because you're
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
much rather you did it yourself. So I think he's gone back to the drawing board basically and started again. Which is fine. You know, there's never been any pressure with any of this. It's
We're in tomorrow, aren't we?
Yes, that's right, Chris. Yeah.
We're
What was that, Chris? I missed that,
we're
Chris.
doing some work, Jim and I, actually, on some extra vocals on this track, because that was.
Well, I was hoping that would be the case.
Okay.
But it's going to be. Well, I think we'll just work on a new song. So I'm going over to Chris's studio tomorrow to do some vocals on one of the new ones.
Sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just get the first EP out of the way anyway first.
Well, yeah.
And dig out that Walking in the Air.
Yeah, I will do. I'll send it to you.
So listen, you've been listening to Jim and Chris of the Leviathan. Thanks again for joining me on the show, lads, and best of luck with all your endeavours in the future. Pleasure to have you on. Cheers.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Sam.
Cheers.
And crucially, support your local metal scene.